This is one of those fun things. This is why I love doing the podcast. I always love like just catching you off guard and drawing you off sides a little bit. All right. Kirby, it's cold outside.
Yeah, it sure
That's
is.
right. And that's how we're going to start off a delayed episode of Promo UPFront podcast, episode number 179. I am your host, one of your hosts of this fine broadcast, Bill Petrie, but with me is somebody else. That's right. Let's call him the ombudsman of the Oxford Dictionary, the one and only Kirby Hasseman. Kirby, how the hell are you? A little delayed, but how are you?
I'm doing well. It is, we are, knee deep in December now, right? Like it is like the folks who waited till the last minute to order, we're rushing to get those things done. And then I think we've talked about it. Like we're trying to work with clients to get ready for 2024. And honestly, those have been fun. Like I've actually enjoyed those conversations. So I'm doing pretty well, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. We're going to talk a little bit why we are delayed here shortly, I'm sure, but I'm good. And hard to believe Christmas is 2 weeks away.
Crazy.
And, we always talk about the fall being what you and I call the silly season of the promotional products. This is when the big announcements happen and things like that. And you know what? It got me to thinking, Kirby, and I had some time to do that last week. I'm sure you've heard about the acquisition of Dixon Ticonderoga Promo by our good pals at Shepenko. You heard about that, right?
I did. Yes. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I had a chance last week to chat with the leadership group over at Shepenko to get a really clear picture on this to share with our audience. So here's what Dan Towns, Daniel Towns, and Alex Smoltz really shared with me and wanted us to share, share with our audience. So Dixon Promo was a subsidiary of Dixon Ticonderoga. And Dixon Ticonderoga announced in July they were going to shut down that division. And so that put Shepenko in action. And so they purchased most, if not all, of the equipment and the customer lists from Dixon Promo. Now, their goal is to have all the equipment out of Dixon Promo, which is located, I think, in Macon, Georgia, by the first of the year. So here in about 4 weeks. And the purchased equipment is really going to allow Shepenko to have additional capacity in some of their current areas of printing and decoration and allow us additional and better equipment for finishing and converting pencils for the promotional products market. And that's pretty exciting stuff. And so where the promotional products market was kind of an ancillary one for Dixon Promo, and I know you know this, it's always been the focus of Shepenko. And even without the Dixon Promo equipment being online at Shepenko, they have inventory and their printing capacity is to absorb any of those Dixon Promo orders. So they are the ones that can really handle this type of transaction. And so, they've been really awesome about really expanding this. And I love the fact that I know you do too. They focus so primarily on a specific product. And I know that's something, like I said, you are a big fan of.
Yeah, I totally am. And I will say this has been like, while I paid a little bit of attention, this is like a news break that you're cutting us here. This is really educational. So I appreciate the heads up on all this stuff. So this is really cool.
Breaking news here on the Promo UPFront podcast. So Kirby, absolutely. So the folks at Shepenko really are the best. They would love you to visit their website. It's at shepenko.com. All right, Kirby, I want to thank you for having the courage to record with me as we're recording this. It is Monday afternoon. We've never recorded on a Monday as far as I'm aware. So anyway, you have the upfront section. What do you want to start with?
Well, buddy, I think it would be worthwhile to deal with the elephant in the room, right? So we did delay this week, and I think because we are not only, I think, believers in consistency, but preachers in consistency, it was pretty weird. We got a lot of really nice text messages, a lot of like people who were a little worried. So why? I guess I'll let you take it.
Yeah. So difficult for me to talk about, but I had a pretty significant health scare last week. It's a very personal thing to me. It's my business, so I'm going to share what I share, and I hope everybody respects the fact that I'm doing my best to be transparent while also being a little guarded. It's my personal business, and I don't really want to get too deep into it. But long story short, I haven't been feeling well probably since late summer, early fall. I just have felt off. You chalk it up to I'm busy and I'm stressed, and I have a doctor's appointment in January. I'll go then. And then I started noticing I just wasn't, I really started losing a lot of weight. And this is where I'll be transparent. In the past month or so, I've lost about 40 pounds. Obviously that's concerning. And so I was having difficulty eating. And so I moved my doctor's appointment. I finally did listen to my body. I should have listened to it in October, but I didn't want to impact the promo cruise. I should have listened to it in early November, but I didn't want it to impact the holidays. And so I went to the doctor and got some blood work done. And the result was him calling me and say, you need to go to the hospital immediately. And I was admitted to intensive care to fix what ailed me, for lack of a better term. I needed, my body was not reacting well to my lifestyle. It has nothing to do with alcohol or anything like that. I want to be very clear on that. It just was, I was not listening to my body. So the good news is I was honestly, it turned around pretty quickly, about 24, 48 hours, and I was out of intensive care. And I'm working with my doctor, and everything's great. Honestly, everything's really looking much better. But the point is, I didn't listen to my body, and because I didn't, and probably because I, maybe partially, I've just, we all push things off because we're so busy. I'm busy doing this, and that can wait. And I'll look. I got to postpone that doctor's appointment because this RFP is doing things like that. I could have avoided going into the hospital. And so, that's 100% on me. I'll own that part of it for sure, but we just couldn't record last week. So again, I appreciate everybody's well wishes. I'm not going to get much deeper than that. It's again, my personal business, and I've decided to keep it that way. But the good news is I'm fine. I'm on the mend. I am thin. Man, do I look good.
I was gonna say,
not the way you want to lose weight, but no, and I feel much better on the mend. Playing with the doctor and everything's going to be just fine. I'm going to be no different than I've ever been, and so just need to take care of myself, as I think we all do from time to time. So Kirby, there you go. I think that covers it.
Yeah, I appreciate you being willing to share. And I do think that, during this time where it's like there's constantly more and more and more to do, it's a good reminder for all of us to take the time to take care of ourselves. So glad to have you back, buddy.
Hey, glad to be back, and hated missing recording. It was weird. And just like it's weird recording on a Monday, but hey, Kirby, you know what? I know you love a good sale. And we are in the crunch time of the holidays. So I've got one heck of a sale for you from our pals over at Kanata. Excuse me. That's right. Their best-selling original lamb's wool, that luxurious, that plush, and incredibly comfortable reversible throw that's offered in a wide range of colors. It's available now at insane pricing. In fact, I have tried. I've went to every contact I have at Kanata. I have been legally barred in 48 states. Not all of them. 2 states I can still tell the prices, but because we're broadcasting everywhere, I basically am barred from all 50 states. It's so low. The good strongs at Kanata won't even allow me to repeat it. They won't. So anyway, go to kanatapromo.com, look up the original lamb's wool, and hey, great deals right now on some blank inventory. All right, Kirby. Let's move on, please.
Okay.
What kind of topic do you have for us?
Okay, so I saw a really great article from ASI and Chris Ruvo. I want to give a shout out to them. Essentially the headline was, "Why is promo growing slower than GDP?" Really good article from them. And so he dug into some ideas of reasons why that might be true. And so I thought it might be interesting for us to discuss what those might be. Again, I know I'm springing this on you, so I've got a few. And so if you want, I can kind of give them to you, and then you can give me what you think, whether you agree or disagree or whatever. How about that?
That sounds great. Let's follow your lead, Dr. Hasseman.
Okay, so the promo is growing slower than the economy. Why, right? And so he, like I said, he gave several of the ideas that he had. And so I have a couple here. So one of them is manufacturing is grinding. Some sectors are growing and some sectors are not. One of them is manufacturing. It is not, like, as a sector. I know that there are certainly folks in there. And I don't know how. I know that manufacturing and construction is a big sector that the industry sells to. It's definitely a big sector I sell to. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, because manufacturing, you're going to do, it's the HRs of the world. It's the health and wellnesses of the world. And of course, they do marketing as well. So like, it's one of the reasons I love selling into that sector, because I can sell to all of those things. Well, when those folks are struggling, it can really have a big effect on like businesses like mine. Fair?
Yeah, no, 100%. I don't really have much to add to that. I totally agree. That's one of there's always indicators and then there's trailers. So I totally get that. Absolutely.
Right. So the other one that I've been talking, or I kind of think about, is during times like this, the media and social media as well, talking about a recession for what feels like since 2020, I think that has to have an effect. Now, the pushback you might give me, and I'm curious to see what you think, is I believe that's had an effect on the economy. While the economy's starting to come back, it's like, I feel like we've been dragging through this. And I think because we've been talking about it for so long, that has affected consumer confidence. And so maybe that has affected the buying habits of purchasing folks. What say you?
Yeah, probably. I think I quote Bono here when he was singing at Red Rocks and said, "There has been too much talk." I agree with you. We have so much talk, and we've got to talk about stuff. And you and I grew up where, before cable, we had maybe 4 channels, and now you've got all these hours to film. Gosh, we have to. And the only thing that seems to grab anybody's attention is doom and gloom, and oh my gosh, the economy will do what it does.
Yes.
And if we would just stop talking about everything sometimes, let it just breathe, I think we'd be, we might go into recession. We might not. I think that's a big part of it. I almost feel like sometimes it's almost like when you look at weather people, and we had some tornadoes that were very scary back this weekend in Nashville. And they were not in my area. They were north of Nashville, probably about 35 miles north of where I live. And at first, like hours before the tornado has hit, they almost seemed excited. Oh my gosh, we are preempting the Army-Navy game because we got to talk. We have some talk about. Now, granted, it played out, but 9 times out of 10, it doesn't. 9 times out of 10, they're just excited to talk about something that could be disaster. I mean, there's that old saying, if it bleeds, it leads. And I think, unfortunately, we've become a society that, it used to be a funny quip. And honestly, I think that's simply how we kind of operate these days. Seems like, anyway.
Yeah, I agree. And my final thought was, and you kind of alluded to it here, where it's like, when you said the economy is going to do what the economy is going to do, and I wrote, in nearly all cases, I think it's also reactive versus proactive. Like the fact of the matter is, for those of us who, and I've been guilty of it, but I think we've done better this year, is you're waiting for people to email you, you're waiting for the phone to ring, you're waiting for somebody to have an event and call you. Yeah, those folks are down, I'm sure, this year. And I think in nearly all cases, when things are like this, it's time to get really proactive.
Curried. I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago when we recorded. Honestly, my brain was a little bit of a fog last week, so I don't remember. So if I'm being the redundant man of redundancy, I apologize. But we talked about circling back, and everybody, the whole thought that we're all shutting down as soon as Thanksgiving and we'll pick back up in January is an absolutely abhorrent way to run your business.
Yeah.
I am working up until probably the 20th, 21st. I've got meetings. I've had new business meetings last week. I've got new business meetings this week. I've got follow-ups to do. My goal is to set up 2024 before I ever get there.
Yes. Agreed.
And maybe I'll succeed, maybe I won't, but the effort's there. The intention is there. The initiative is there. And so I agree, when people are reactive, that's something that is never generally a recipe for success. You got to take control of what you can take control of.
Well, cool. Well, again, the article's from ASI and Chris Ruvo. Great job by them. So it's kind of fun stuff.
Yeah. The only thing I'm going to add something.
Please.
I think to this. The one thing I would add is that sometimes I feel like when things are good, all we do is wait for the shoe to drop. So it's kind of a tangential of what we've already discussed. And especially maybe, you've got to really focus on the positive, and it's so easy to focus on the negative. Focus on what you can do, like we just talked about, and focus on what's going well. Yeah, things are going to go bad, and sometimes they're outside of your control. A lot of times they're out of your control. Focus on those things. Things generally go better. All right, Kirby, we are almost to 2024. I think it's time to talk about some business trend predictions. All right, so these come from, I didn't note that. I don't think it's fair to the publication that I would go forward with this, since I don't realize who wrote this. So we're gonna push that a couple days. We'll get to it next week. Kirby, Oxford has released their word of the year.
Okay.
Now, we talked about Merriam-Webster's word.
Oh, okay. I was like, okay, you were foggy because I was.
No. I'm not that foggy. Merriam-Webster released their word of the year, which is like a term of the year. This is the Oxford Dictionary. This is a word that's going to be added to the dictionary. Now, I have to give a big shout out to our good friend Javier Melendez. He's listener number 4, I believe, out of the 6. From Walker Clay, who kind of pinged me on this and said, hey, you might want to talk about this. And gosh darn it, he was right.
We are. Yeah. Javi's the best.
Excuse me. Would you like to hear some of the potentials, Kirby? Well, first of all, do you know what this word is?
I don't think I do. It's not ringing a bell.
Excellent. All right. So here are the 3 potentials that didn't make it, and then we'll go over the winner, and let's chat about that. The first one is prompt. But that was an interesting. Like, you prompt Chat GPT, you put a prompt in AI, Mid-Journey, things like that. Thought that was an interesting choice, prompt. Although that's a word that's kind of in the dictionary anyway. But maybe
it's like almost you're adding a new meaning to it. Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
I'll buy that.
Yeah. Number 2, situationship. Are you familiar with this term, Kirby?
No, this is new to me.
Okay. It is an informal romantic connection. So basically, it's friends with benefits is called a situationship.
This is a great example of when when I'm almost 50, that I'm like, I'm so glad I don't have to worry about situationships. That's great.
No, yeah, absolutely. And this is one of those fun things. This is why I love doing the podcast. I always love just catching you off guard and drawing you off sides a little bit. All right. So situationship. Number 3, Swifty. I'm stunned that wasn't the choice. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Oh man, I this is where you really are drawing me off sides, because it's like everything about me wants to make a dirty joke. So I'm not going to do that. It just seems like something that happens in the backseat of a car. But go ahead.
Well, are you in a Swifty situationship?
I am not.
And I think they meant Taylor Swift as a Swifty.
I know, but that is not what popped into my head.
No, I understand. Are you familiar with Taylor Swift? Do you need me to go over who
she's dating Travis Kelce, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I don't know if you've noticed this, but the NFL's really excited about that relationship.
Haven't noticed. All right. So the winner, though, is a word called Riz, and it's spelled R-I-Z-Z. That's right. This is going to be added to the Oxford English Dictionary, and it's an evolution of the word charisma. So instead of saying, Kirby, you have charisma, I might say, Kirby, you've got Riz. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this addition to the English language.
I think it's a great example of Gen Z jumping into the culture creation, and I think that's fine. I think you should never say that.
I don't think anybody should ever say it. Here's what I think. There's been this trend over the last few generations. And this is not an old man Petrie talking. It's just more of an interesting observation that it seems like they like to shorten words.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, and I always think about, you're not really saving a lot of time. Like, do you expect over the course of your life that I got an extra hour and 20 minutes back because I use the word riz over charisma?
Yeah, I think
the amount of time you have to explain it too adds to the time.
No, that's fair. Actually, it is fascinating though, just sort of the slang, right? It's fun for me to do my best to keep up with some of the slang with like the TikTok generation. I'm clearly not the demo, but there've been several where I'm like, okay, I kind of like that one. Riz was not one of the ones that I would have put on the list, but okay.
Yeah. It's fine. I mean, who cares? It's just super interesting to me. Yeah. And, just a reminder, as all you who are maybe making fun of Kirby and I for going, Riz, that's kind of weird. We were all once rising stars, and we will all become waning moons. Everybody has their time. Yeah. All right, Kirby, do you have any more topics, or are we going right into the picks for PPEF?
I say we go right into the picks, because that shouldn't take long.
No, it shouldn't. We actually, so candidly, we did pick games last week, even though we didn't record.
Yep, we did do that.
We did. We picked one college game, because there was only one, the Army Navy game, and 3 NFL games. We all picked the same. We both picked the same people to win. So our record's the same. So here's what it was. Army Navy, we both picked Navy. We lost that one. Army won. Yeah. We both so Tampa Bay in the NFL, we picked Tampa Bay at Atlanta. You picked the Buccaneers. Yeah, right. You picked the Tampa Bay team. I picked the Buccaneers, so both same team there. Buffalo, Kansas City. We both lost that because Kansas City did not play well. And then Philadelphia,
and they can't line up on sides. Yeah.
No. And then we did pick Philadelphia at Dallas, and I guess Dallas eked one out there from what I hear.
But we both picked them to win.
We did pick them to win.
Okay, all right. Just making sure. That was surprised at that one. That was a
So we'll update that. So Kirby, you're still a couple games ahead of me. We've got about 1 or 2 more weeks left to this, so I'm in striking distance. I'm like a cobra, just ready to pounce. That's not a cobra sound, by the way. But that's my simulated cobra sound.
It had a lot of riz.
I'll tell you who pounced like a cobra is our pals at Shepenko when they took over the Dixon Promo equipment from our I don't even know them. So yeah, I guess they're friends. Dixon Ticonderoga folks. They're going to increase their capacity at Shepenko again. Really, and follow me here, Kirby. They're sharpening their focus on pencils, as they've always done, and such good people. You and I know Daniel Towns and Alex Motes so well. Great people. They're continuing their focus on pencils. They're investing. We talk about that a lot on the podcast. They're investing in their business, and they're doing it because they focus on one market only, and that's promotional products distributors. So they really invite you to visit them at shepenko.com. You won't be sorry you did. Kirby, thank you for being gracious and delaying the podcast and then recording on an off day. And then I'm going to see you in a couple days when we record again. So see you then.
It's the best time of my week now. I get to do it twice.
Oh, you've got Riz.
That's right.